Hi everyone, I'm Prasad from the Structural Guide. You all are welcome to the Structural Guide YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about foundation types. Please subscribe our YouTube channel, you may get the notification on new videos. Let's discuss about foundation types. What are the main types of foundations? Mainly there are two types of foundations. The classification of foundation is done based on the depth of the construction. When foundation is constructed at a shallow depth, they are called the shallow foundations. When foundations are constructed up to deep levels or deep or rock level, those foundations are called the deep foundations. Under shallow foundations, we are going to discuss about pad foundations, spread footings, combined footings, strip footings, strap footings, inverted T-type footings, mat foundations, and random rubble foundations that is most commonly used in the small scale construction works. Under the deep foundation, we are going to discuss about cast-in-situ board files, driven files and microfiles. Today we see what are these type of foundation and what the speciality of these kind of foundations. Let's start with the shallow foundations. As the name implies, shallow foundations is a foundation that's constructed at the shallow depth. So you can see here a shallow foundations. This is a spread footings or it's sometimes called a fat footings. So single column we have a single base. We may have a column, rectangular column, circular column, any type of column. And also the reinforcement net. I want to little bit discuss about this. So basically or usually we have a only single net, that is bottom net only we provide for the spread footings. In special cases like if you have a higher thickness, if you have a corrosion issue, if you have a thermal issue, in such a situations, due to the higher thickness, we may need to have a top net provided to control the cracking due to thermal effects. Other than that, we provide only single net. Combined footings. You can see here, this is a combined footings. Combined footing, as name implies, the combined footing is two spread footings are combined together. When the two columns are close by, when these footings may overlap, in such a situations we put the combined footings. In other cases like this, one of the column is close at the boundary, we can't continue the foundation in this side. So in these situations also we combine these two footings. Normally in the combined footing we have a double net, reinforcement nets, two reinforcement nets, bottom net and top net, because at the bottom there may be a sagging at each column, at the middle in between column there may be a hogging moment. Therefore we need to have two reinforcement nets for the combined footings. Next type of foundation we are going to discuss is the strip footings. You can see here this is the type of strip footing we construct. So we construct a strip type footing to support several columns. If you have a two columns, it's say the combined footing. If you have one column, it's a pad footing. When you have a several columns on a single foundation, single strip type foundation, they are called the strip footings. Then let's discuss about strap footing. This is a special type of footings like combined footing. We can say it's kind of combined footing, but there's a special feature in there. So you can see in this footing the column is located at the edge of the footing. In a spread footing, when you locate the column at the edge of the footing, there will be additional stresses develop at the edge. The pressure at the edge will be higher and towards the other end this will be less. So here pressure will be less, here pressure will be high. So that need to be balanced. So that we provide a strap beam connecting the footing to inner column by a beam. This is a strap beam, this is strap footing. By this column we can control the rotation of this footing due to the eccentric loading. Now where we construct this strap footings? strap footings. In a constructions where now due to the space limitations, sometimes we continue the construction up to the boundary. So in a such cases, we can't continue the foundation beyond our boundary. We can't put the foundations in somebody else's land. Therefore, we have to place the foundation at edge. Now, footings cannot continue like this here. So in such situations, we want to have a footing like this. We may avoid some cases. We may avoid this spread footings. Now we have to check the pressures and all that, and eccentricity and all that. Then we may avoid. Sometimes there are possibilities of avoiding this strep B. That has to be decided at the design. Then inverted type footings. You can see here, it's a T shape. The footing is strip type footing is there. There's a B connecting all the columns. When you have a higher axial load, the strip footing stiffness may not be adequate because this is a thick plate. This bending stiffness may not be adequate. So we may have to have a very higher thickness. So that may not be a cost effective. In these cases, we put a beam. So the beam carry the bending moments and shear forces. Strip can be designed as a cantilever slab, like cantilever slab from the beam. So this kind of a economical method when the column axial loads are increases. Mat foundations. Mat foundation is a type of foundation of combination all of these type of foundations. In a mat foundation, we construct all the column in a single footing or single foundations. That's called the raft foundation also. We call raft foundation also. We call it as a rough foundation also. So in these foundations, we have a double reinforcement nets. Here you can see the top reinforcement net of the foundation. This is a bottom reinforcement net. The columns start from that bottom reinforcement net. What we want to know here is, in a mat foundation, we start all the columns from that particular slab type foundations. Kind of slab you put the whole area covering to cover the whole area to stand to continue all the columns from that. Then random rubble foundations. These are most common type of foundation we see in the construction. In the small scale buildings, we use random rubble foundation. Other type of construction also, small scale construction, boundary walls, any simple structures, we use these type of foundations. Let's see what are the deep foundations. These foundations are the type of foundation construct up to the deep level. Now why we need a deep foundations? In constructions of in during the construction, we do a soil investigation, ground condition assessments. Now if the ground is very weak and when the foundations, shallow foundation cannot be put to bear the load applied upon the superstructure, we may have to find an alternative. First we may try to have it on the spad footings with the weak ground condition and with the axial load. If we can't go with the shallow foundation or spread footing, we may try to go with the combined footing. If that fail, we may try to have it strip footing. If those things are fail, we have to have another options. That's the deep foundations. We construct the foundation up to the hard soil layers or up to the rock or beyond the rock. What is the cast-in-situ board files? Cast-in-situ board file means we excavate the soil and we excavate the rock also. Then place the concrete cage as shown here. This is the concrete cage. Then we put the concrete. So pier type foundation, the pile foundation is constructed. Now when we can't construct building on a shallow foundation, that's one of the most commonly used construction method in the world. Most of the high-rise buildings are constructed on the cast-in-situ board files. Mostly cast-in-situ board file continue up to the rock, and then beyond the rock we continue a depth called socketing depth. In some countries, when we can't find the rock very closely, like maybe 100 meters, maybe 200 meters, maybe 300 meters, in such a situation, if we can't find the rock, those files may be constructed as a friction files. So those files are cast into the board file, but NBRM will be very less because we can't rest the foundation on the rock, but friction will provide the required capacity to required resistance. Now let's see what the driven files. You can see here these are the driven files, square shape files. So when we can't put the shallow foundations in a small scale buildings, when you like if we have a peat soil very close by, we may not be have a, even in the single or two-story building. If we have a peat, we may not be able to build even single story building because it will settle. In such a situation, we might use the driven files. If we have a hard soil layer below these peat layer or weak soil layers, we can use driven file. We can continue driven file up to that particular hard soil layer. Then we can rest the building on that. So micropiles also some sort of a piling construction type. The difference is in micropile is diameter is small. There are different type of micropiles. Micropile in the sense smaller type board file. So you can see in this figure also this is a micropile, a small diameter pile. So it may be continue up to the rock or maybe up to the beyond, even in the rock this may be constructed. That is up to, I mean, we may socket into the rock also. In addition, now steel piles also construct like this manner. Steel casing filled with the concrete will be cast as a micropile. Steel case inside the steel casing, if the steel casing is not adequate, steel casing capacity is not adequate, we may put the reinforcement cage also to enhance the strength of the steel casing. Those type of micropiles are also there. Finally, we are going to discuss about the diaphragm wall. It's not actually very old technology. Its development is not that old. So these are constructed especially in the boundaries when we have deep basements. We construct we construct diaphragm walls. It's also act like a foundation. Sometimes act like a retaining wall. There are many advantages of this. With that, today's we are going to end today's discussions. Today we are discuss about different type of foundations. Mostly they can categorize in under as shallow foundation and deep foundation. Under each category, what are the type of foundation included, where we discuss in detail. Thank you very much.